Hey guys, well, it's here. Kotobukiya's first high-end master model kit of a Zoids Wild design, and obviously they're starting with the Wild Liger. So in this video I'm going to do an unboxing, we'll take a look at the articulation and the gimmicks, and I'll show you how it compares to some other relevant kitty cat models. Let's take a look.
Robo Shop.
Alright, so obviously this is one of the standard sort of bigger size HMM boxes that we have here. It's got, however, what's new, of course, the Zoids Wild logo here. We start the numbering with W001 because it's the first HMM adaptation of a Zoids Wild model. Otherwise, sort of in terms of the design, this all looks pretty much the same. Unfortunately, our good friend Mercy Rabbit kind of disappoints this time. I don't know what this pose is supposed to be, you know, with the legs like outstretched like that. It's obviously like in terms of the rendering technique as usual, it looks great, but yeah, and also like what's the deal with these Roman columns, Greek columns, whatever. It looks like it's at some archaeological dig site in Greece and scaring the tourists. Anyway, here on the side we have the gimmicks. Basically, you can rotate the eyes for some reason. Not sure what this is meant to do. I guess we'll find out. You have the pilot figure here. That also comes with a little like this sort of glow effect here that, if I remember correctly, he has in the anime every time the Zoid uses blast mode, and a Zoid's core contraption. On this side is just a photo of the kit, and here on the back we also have, I mean, if you've ever, you know, seen an HMM box, this looks very familiar. They haven't really changed anything. We have the glow effect that's shown off here. We have bone mode and regular mode being shown here. So I guess, you know, the good news is that this definitely comes with a complete inner skeleton, which I just like this because it makes the kit easier to paint in terms of the overall workflow, to be honest. We're being shown this again, and then we have these are these little like Beyblade pieces. I can't remember how this works in the anime because Zoids Wild was so annoying, and I'm pretty sure I only ever saw it in Japanese. So anyway, here's a picture of blast mode. Let's do the interesting part and see what's actually in here. There we go. Nothing out of the ordinary on the inside either. Okay, I'm really strapped for space here, so we're gonna have this mess here on the side, and I'm gonna show you the pieces here. So anyway, this looks to be polycaps. That's what that is. More polycaps, and then here we have the parts for the blades and the teeth and the claws, molded in reasonably decent looking metallic gold for Kotobukiya standards. A different shade of gold for these mechanical pieces here. We have a bunch of silver mechanical parts. We have the blue parts molded in what I have to say is very unattractive, very saturated blue. These go on the blades on the back, I'd wager. More of this ugly ass blue. Gray for mechanical stuff. Here's the Zoids core contraption. Look here. This looks, every time I see the Freedom logo, I think it looks like it says Pokemon, to be honest. These look to be water slides though, so I guess that's nice. But basically it looks like a Zoids Wild sticker sheet, except it's water slides. More gray stuff. Clear parts. The caps, of course, are molded in clear plastic. just like on the Takara Tomy kit, more caps. These are bone mold parts, nothing that interesting. Clear green for something that looks to be the eyes. I don't know what this triangular piece here is. This is the blast mode effects piece. It's very sort of round and soft and ugly. We'll see all this in more detail, obviously, when I do the when I show you the build kit. All right, so the instruction booklet also pretty much looks like what you'd expect of an HMM booklet. We have the high-end master model logo here, the Zoids Wild logo here. A lot of Japanese lore text, design sketches, more design sketches. Then we have a parts list. It's pretty much sort of, you know, the number of parts and sprues that you would expect of sort of a Liger-sized HMM kit. And then, yeah, black and white illustrations for how it goes together. We're not going to thumb through all this. Here, the last thing you do apparently is put the blast mode contraption on. Then it shows you how to put Arashi in his spot. Finally, we have instructions on how to use the water slides and painting instructions. Yeah, you can use says here, of course, that you can use an action base with it, and I still don't know what this does. It says, I mean, it's a 3mm peg that goes on the side here. I guess maybe that's to attach extra weapons. I really have no idea. I have no idea what that's supposed to do. Maybe I'll find out, maybe I won't. Either way, that's the instructions and that's the unboxing done. I will now get this guy built, and then we're going to take a look at him. Right, let's get a look at this guy in bone mode first, because it is actually constructed to be sort of usable in bone mode and in armored mode, as you'll see. We've got the neck here, has 2 points of articulation here where it connects with the body, and here where it connects with the head. The mouth, of course, opens and closes. There's a nice little gun in here. You can also, this is probably not even going to show on camera because of what the parts look like, but the eyes can be rotated like so. See, now it's pointing outward and now it's pointing forward. It's kind of a pointless gimmick, but you can do that. The legs have, first of all the toes are individually articulated. And then you have sort of the standard joint that you kind of would expect of a Kotobukiya Liger here at the shoulder that swings forward and back and up and down, very far out actually. And of course it rotates. Here you have a very simple double joint, but it yeah, and here's actually, since I'm talking about it, here's one of the problems with this kit. You're going to want to glue these armor pieces on. Anyway, I was going to say this is jointed so that I mean, it's double jointed here. The feet rotate and swing side to side like so. The torso is jointed here, side to side and up and down, though not that much. And here at the hip you also have a joint, although it bends up and down, or at least in this direction, reasonably well, but not really that much to the side. It's enough though. I mean, you can get a pretty respectable torso bend here. If you have a cat, it's nowhere near as flexible as an actual cat spine, but here you go. We also have here, and this thing has a tendency to fall out. This is the contraption that the Zoids core sits in, and I put this to the side because it's just going to fall out again. And finally the tail. All the segments are individually jointed and they can also be rotated, although overall I think the tail's a little short compared to the rest of the Liger. Yeah, that's all the articulation. Very nice detail here. I'm not sure I understand why these rips had to be silver, but they are. The pistons don't slide in and out, but since I'm going to paint this thing, I'm fine with that, as long as they're there and they're separate, so nice color separation there. And that's really it as far as the articulation goes. Now, the first gimmick that I'm going to show you is something that those of you who aren't a fan of the scale of these, or the Pilot figures in general, are probably going to be happy about. We have a saddle here, which is hilarious because it looks so much like an actual horse riding saddle, which you can attach separately by plugging it into the back of the head here, like so, or by making an ass of yourself, like so. Whoa. Like so. The reason this is good news, of course, aside from the fact that it keeps falling apart, is that this means we can build and display this thing entirely really without any trace of there having to be a pilot on the neck here. The first thing you attach is the head armor, which when it's all assembled looks like this. The main parts can swing in and out. These sit on a rotating peg here. I do need to take these off in order to attach it though. Doesn't work otherwise. That's why you just saw a jump cut, in case you're wondering. There's a slit here that this pegs into, like so. It's pretty easy to get on and off, as are the rest of the armor pieces, I have to say. And I suspect that's intentional. We're supposed to be able to get the armor on and off pretty easily. We then reattach the main parts, which is kind of a pain. This one plugs in here at the bottom. The big one plugs in here at the top, and you have to be a little careful. Let me see if I can do this on camera. Have to be a little careful, or just mindful, because the peg doesn't really line up the way you expect it to, or in a way that you can do on camera. Here it is. Other side, same thing. And through the magic of jump cutting, here it is. Now, the next thing we need to do is get the leg armor on. Let's take a look at these first. This is a leg armor piece that goes on a front leg. As you can see, tons of detail. This swings in and out as it's supposed to, and it just attaches with one single peg here, which also, like everything else, makes it pretty easy to get on and off once you sort of figure out where it goes. It was funny, I had a bit of a difficult time getting these off when I was getting ready for this review. And I realized they're really kind of constructed in such a way where if you pull them off exactly the way you're supposed to, they come off very easily. Whereas if you do it wrong, they won't come off at all, which is good, of course. That's that armor piece in place. Same thing on this side. And the front. And that's the leg armor in place. Now, there's also the rear spoiler or whatever, I don't know. It's also got this nice gold collar separation here on the bottom, and these things move in and out separately. This, of course, goes on its rump, like so. And then finally, we have the blades, which look like this. Obviously they're, show them like this first. They fold back like this, and you have this contraption here on the bottom that actually makes it very easy to move this thing in all sorts of directions for cool poses. It also has a locking mechanism here that I've apparently destroyed. Pulling it out, so be careful with that. It attaches like so, and this is how you stash it. Now, before we move on to pictures, last couple of gimmicks I didn't put this back in, of course. We also have the Rog Pilot figure. Let me get the Liger out of the way here. Which, I guess, if you're a fan of the character, I mean, the paint job is really sharp. My problem is kind of that I'm really not sure how it's supposed to go on here. I mean, I guess like this, and then he's sort of leaning forward like that, and it looks idiotic, and its ass just fell off camera. What you can also do with Rog is you can take his head off, and you can attach the other head, which has this glowing eye effect here, which looks absolutely terrible if we're honest. This is, of course, if I remember correctly from the anime, this is what happens when Rog and the Liger go into Wild Blast mode. For that, you also need this piece here that I didn't bother cutting off the sprue because I'm just going to lose it anyway, which slots into here on the saddle, just like it works in the anime, of course. And finally, also for the Liger to go into Wild Blast mode, we've got this here that attaches to the eye like so, and looks absolutely mortifying. And I like the general shape and how it sort of complements the armor, but yeah, unless you're a huge fan of the anime and the fact that all of this is of course accurate to what happens, it's really not that big of a deal. I know I'm not going to do anything with this. Yeah, and that's it. Oh yeah, last thing. Let me show you the Wild Blast contraption here. These fold forward and they pull out a little, although not that much. This one pulls out like this. This one is, oh no, here we go. It's kind of cool. You can move these all individually for cool poses, and then this you can move up and around and really in all sorts of directions, which I've already found like makes it easier to take pictures because you can have the blades pointing at a flattering angle. So that's pretty good. And yeah, unless I'm forgetting something, which I probably am, that's all of the gimmicks on this kit. So let's move on to pictures.
Okay, in case you're wondering, I didn't find out what those detachable pecs on the leg armor are for, but anyway, here's a comparison to the Takara Tomy Wild Liger. I'd say it's about the usual. The Kotobukiya version is a bit sleeker, especially because the legs are longer. You can also see from the top here that the torso is a fair bit longer and it's just bigger overall. What's a bit disappointing is that honestly there isn't all that much more detail. Here's a comparison to the Liger Zero, because I'm guessing that's the Kotobukiya Liger that most of you have. They're really more or less exactly the same size. The Wild Liger's torso appears to be a bit thicker, but other than that it's pretty much a standard sized Liger kit. So overall, I'd say I'm pretty pleasantly surprised by this kit. I do think it's a bit disappointing that they didn't really add all that much more detail to the design, but the changes to the proportions are great and it's a very straightforward and fun build overall. It does have the usual issues here and there with parts either being too tight or too loose. I think you're definitely going to want to glue those foot armor pieces in place, and as you saw earlier, the pelvis portion of the torso has a tendency to fall off. But there's no real serious engineering issues, and posability is about what you'd expect. The elephant in the room, in my opinion, is the question who this is for. The HMM kits have always been intended for an older demographic, and obviously a lot of those people aren't big fans of Zoids Wild, and it'll be interesting to see how well this sells. Kotobukiya apparently has lots more Zoids Wild kits planned, so clearly they expect there to be a market for these, but I guess we'll see. Personally, I just hope this doesn't mean that they're done with the classic designs. It's a good sign that there's a Revraptor coming out next year, but man, there's so many old Zoids that I'd still love to see as Kotobukiya kits. This one's definitely a solid kit all around though, and if you're a fan of the Wild Liger and you like the Kotobukiya models, I can absolutely recommend it. Well, and that's it for this one, folks. I'll probably be reviewing the upcoming weapon sets next, and then hopefully the Xenorex when that one finally comes out. So, if you like Zoids and you don't want to miss those, you'll want to hit that subscribe button right about now. I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm thinking about what I'll do when that happens, so stay tuned, I guess. If you'd like to support me, I have Patreon and PayPal links in the description below, but if you just hit the like button for this video, that already helps me out a ton. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.